When I was around 11 years old, my parents started to figure out that there was something a little bit different with me. I wasn't doing so well in school, didn't really have many friends. It was very, very all over the wall, couldn't focus on anything. So they took me to psychologists and originally thought it was ADD. But then they figured out that it was Asperger's. So I was diagnosed with Asperger's when I was 12. My name is Danny Rady. I'm the co-founder of Asperger Experts now, where we teach people with Asperger's how to live amazing lives.
And I'm Hayden Mears, the other co-founder of Asperger Experts, and I was diagnosed at age 5, a little bit earlier, but I wasn't told until I was 12 and in middle school. And when I was told that I had Asperger's, I didn't care at first until I noticed that kids were bullying me because I had Asperger's. And they, some of them knew that I had Asperger's because one of my friends, one of my peers in one of my classes was friends with my mom. His mom was friends with my mom, and she told him, and he told everyone. And so they were all like, oh, Hayden's autistic, and they were just throwing it at me. And so I retreated into a shell, and I didn't come out for a very long time.
Yeah. And as you're watching this, the goal of this program is not to change you into someone you're not. That's not what we want to do at all. That's like something completely opposite of what we want to do.
We want to bring out you.
Yeah, we just want to make you more awesome, basically.
Right.
The end goal is to help you achieve all your dreams. That, if you want to make $1 million and own a mansion, great, let's help you do that. If you didn't have some friends, great, let's help you do that too. So, and really anything in between, no matter what it is, we're here to help you.
Right. And for you to do those big things, you need to make little adjustments.
Yeah.
And that's what we're here to help you with. Because we know you can do it, because we've done it.
Yeah. So, as we're talking about those little adjustments, think about a line, right? And as the line goes further and further out, it gets longer, obviously, right?
Right.
So, if you turn that into like a iron pole or something like that, then as the pole gets longer, it gets heavier. So when you're trying to change the direction of the thing, the shorter it is, the easier it is to change, right? So that's kind of the same thing in life, because we're going down one path, and maybe we've been going down that path for a while, maybe we've been going down that path for a little bit. But maybe, we're going down this path, but the thing we want is over here. We need to adjust that line over here and adjust our life pointing in that direction of the thing we want.
Right. Rapid course correction.
Yeah. So that's what this is really going to be about. So as I was diagnosed, people asked me, what did you think? I didn't really care. For me, it was just kind of something, and I started to deny it a lot.
Right.
Because, I didn't want to be the kid that was different. I didn't want to be the kid that was broken, the kid that was wrong, or any of that stuff.
No one does.
I just wanted to live life and, play video games and enjoy life, basically. But what I realized, it took me a few years to realize this, was that Asperger's can be a good thing, and not just something that you never wish happened upon you.
Right. It is a good thing. It's a blessing. It's a gift.
Now, you might be saying, okay, well, hold on, Ed. Well, what about all this stuff that goes on and all about this pain? As I've been growing up, I've come to realize that the majority of our life experience, the majority of our pain and our struggle and our frustration and our anger and all that stuff drives us to who we are. Because think about it. If you're happy all the time, would you even know what happiness is? No, you'd just be happy all the time. That'd be your state. But when you get depressed a little bit or sad, then you come back to the happiness, you appreciate it all that more, and you learn from it. So all this pain that you might be going through right now is really a driver for bigger and better things. You're going to learn from it.
Right.
And because you're going to learn from it, then you can move forward in life knowing, hey, I've been through all this stuff that most people haven't, therefore I can succeed.
Right. You might have to hit the rocks to reach the sky, in other words.
So that was really one of my major realizations, was that this, the pain isn't all bad. Because if you think about it, how do you learn best? You learn through mistakes and through life experience.
Right. You touch a hot stove and it's hot and it burns you, you learn not to touch it again.
Yeah. Versus if I just tell you, stoves are hot, you're going to be like, okay, but you still aren't going to really believe it until you do it.
And you might even want to go touch the stove to prove it to yourself.
Yeah.
And then when it burns you, you're going to get hurt. And you're going to say, oh, I better not do that again.
Yeah. But the thing is, the hurt is temporary, but the lesson is forever.
Right.
Because really the only thing that sticks with us is the knowledge and life experience. The pain goes away.
Right.
It does. It may not seem like it right now, but the pain does go away.
And it's hard to imagine it going away before it happens.
Yeah.
But you won't even think twice about it when it goes away.
Yeah. So what we're going to be teaching in this whole thing is how to make the pain go away, essentially. There's sometimes where you don't want it to go away, believe it or not, because then that's where you learn the most. But there are some times where it's like, okay, this is enough. I need to do some things to change my life.
Right.
Because, listen, if you're watching this right now, then something isn't working out.
Right.
Someone thought that you needed this because something is not working the way it should in your life. So, when something doesn't work the way it should, instead of just trying to keep doing the same thing and keep doing the same thing and keep doing the same thing, which I did for years and years and years and years,
Yeah.
and got the same result.
Because it was comfortable.
Yeah. You need to do something different in order to get a different result.
Exactly.
So, my first major realization came when I was a junior in high school. And I was in a video production class, and we were doing personal video projects. And one of those, the personal video project was just kind of like film anything about your life. So I was going to do about bullying, and how I was always bullied and no one understood me in high school. So I filmed part of my English class. When I went to record it, I didn't really get anything good. But I heard myself interrupt the teacher over and over and over again. I realized, maybe I do need to change. And that's really where it all starts, is maybe I do need to change. Because, again, what you're doing isn't working. You need to do something else in order to get a different result.
Right. I am extremely grateful for my lowest points, because without them, my highest points couldn't ever exist.
Yeah.
You know, the times in my life where I've been extremely depressed or suicidal, you know, they were stepping stones to get me to where I'm at now, which is a point of extreme happiness and comfortability.
Yeah. You can totally do this. We believe in you.
It's very possible.
Yeah.
And if you do these things that we teach you, it's actually probable.
So it's very, I wouldn't say it's even difficult. It takes some time.
Right.
But there are certain key distinctive thoughts you need to have. That's about it. And, the number one thing is you need to stop defending yourself against everything. There's nothing to defend yourself against.
Right. Even if you think there is, it's usually just illusions caused by your mind.
But that doesn't mean that you're wrong or anything like
or
that.
It's not real to you. It's very real to you, or else you wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah. But when you start looking and start evaluating, like from an outside perspective, okay, I'm defending myself. Now, what would actually happen if I didn't defend myself?
Right. And that objectivity will come with practice.
Yeah.
And once it comes, life's going to be a lot easier, because you're going to want to let down your guard, and you're going to want to experience new things. And your life's going to open up. And it's awesome.
Yeah, and it's the greatest feeling in the world. See, what happens, and I have a little hair in my face right now, but what happens is that when we put up all these barriers, again, which I did have for years and years and years, when we put up all these barriers, the bad can't get in. That's wonderful, because then we can live our life, but then the good can't get in either.
Right.
And then so we end up wanting all of these greater fulfillment in life, but none of that really happens because we have all the walls up.
Right. It's like a doorway, If you lock a door, the bad guys can't get in, but you can't let the good guys out to go fight them either.
Yeah, and more good guys can't come in. Maybe, they want to give you some gifts or something. They can't get in either.
Right.
So
it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
It's a two-way thing.
So as I was growing up and as I was just kind of figuring out all of this stuff, moved to college, still kind of denying Asperger's, and then eventually started, hey, I want something better with my life. And this is the next key distinction. Once you realize, hey, I need to change something, then you need to stick on that new path of I need to change and not go back to the old ways.
Right. So many people revert to their old ways after maybe a month or so of trying the new ways without really giving it a chance to really settle in and work.
Yeah. So this one's, listen up here, this one's good.
It's important.
So what I realized, and this started with me wanting to go on Oasis of the Seas cruise boat by Royal Caribbean. Cruise boats are awesome, by the way, in my opinion. But so I wanted to go on this boat. I was 19 years old, fresh into college, and didn't really have money to go on a boat. $2,000 plus airfare plus hotel, it wasn't happening.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, what can I do? Well, obviously I need to get some money, right? I needed to change something. So I started to look up how to get money, and how, besides getting a job, like starting a business or something like that. And then that came to the next key distinction, was I had a reason to do stuff that may have been uncomfortable that was bigger than my current problem. I'll say it again. Reason bigger than your current problem. You need to have some reason to progress in life. No matter what your goal is, even if it's just I want to be happy, you need to have some reason, because there are going to be roadblocks in the way. There's going to be stuff that goes, no, you don't want to be happy, no, you don't want to do this, no, you don't want to, and you need to have the reason that's bigger than those problems.
Right. For me, for years I had a problem with hygiene. I had a problem with showering every day, brushing my teeth, that stuff, keeping my ears clean. And then in high school, girls started to kind of stay away from me, and I noticed it, because I'm very receptive. And then I was like, And I asked my mom about it, and she said, well, Hayden, it's probably because you don't take care of yourself. If you take care of yourself, it shows that you care about yourself, and then others will care about you. And so then my reason became, well, I want girls to like me. I want a girlfriend. I'm a lonely guy.
Yeah.
So I improved my hygiene. And now people actually compliment me on my hygiene. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, once you get compliments on something that you worked hard on, that's a really awesome feeling. But
Great reward.
For me, it was two things. I was going to the dentist every 3 months because I wasn't brushing my teeth, and I always had to be reminded to do showers and all that stuff.
Right.
So my main motivation for teeth was I don't want to go to the dentist every 3 months because I haven't met a person yet that looks forward to going to the dentist. And when you have Asperger's and all the sensation is heightened, then it's very painful going to the dentist. So for me, it was just I don't want to experience that pain so much.
Right. Our heightened senses, make us a lot more receptive and sensitive to things that other people might consider little. So when people, so much as like touch our mouth with one of the little dental equipment thingies, it's really uncomfortable, like even more so than it would be to a neurotypical person.
Yeah, but on the other hand, they're poking your mouth with a metal stick, and then they go, "You're bleeding." It's like, yeah, really.
Yeah.
But for me, the other thing with hygiene was I just realized, hey, if you don't take care of yourself, then you start to itch, and things start to not feel good.
And you start to not look good.
And when you don't look good, then people do not pay attention to you. Right. And you do not gain any friends, and you cannot connect with people, and they're always going, who's the weird kid that smells weird?
And has flies buzzing around him all the time.
Yeah. And when people tell you to do these things, you need to brush your teeth, you need to do hygiene, you need to do your homework, there's not because they want to stress you out or anything. Believe it or not, they're trying to help you.
Right. It's because they're actually bothered by you, looking and smelling like that, but they also want better for you too.
Yeah. Now, when people started to tell me this, I'm bothered by that, just like, I don't care what you think, I'm going to do my own thing, and we're very stubborn like that. Mm-hmm. But
very.
What I realized was that if you want to change something, because this is all about changing what you want to change, not like the bad kind of change, but just kind of like, hey, I'd like my parents to stop nagging me, I'd like my coworkers to like me, I like this girl, I want to get a girlfriend, I want to make some money, I want to live life.
It's optional change, but it's change that'll drastically improve your life.
Yeah, it's the good stuff. So what I started to realize was that I couldn't expect everyone to change around me. I mean, we see a lot of people with Asperger's going, I'm not going to change, the rule just has to adapt to me.
Exactly.
And that's wrong. Yeah. I hate to put it blatant like that, but that's wrong. And
you will get nowhere with that mentality.
And let me explain what's going on here before you go, well, he's wrong, and all the defenses come up.
Right.
Because remember, I've been through exactly what someone told me this. Immediately was, no, you're wrong. And I went along, and it took me about a year to realize this. I'm like, oh. So what happens is, when we try and say, I'm fine, everyone needs to change around me, what you're trying to say is, hopefully somehow someone changes to not annoy me, or to not do all these things, because then my life will be good. And you're just you're hoping and praying that this happens.
Right.
But what if it doesn't? What if no one changes? Because honestly, there's 7 billion people in the world. They're mostly concerned about themselves. If you say, hey, that bothers me, they're going to do the same thing you just did, which is, I don't care what you think, I'm going to still do it. So what you need to do in order to make the change that you want and to live the stress-free life you want is you need to go opposite of the common reaction of I don't care, I'm not going to change, you need to deal with it. And you need to be, I am going to change, therefore it won't bug me anymore.
And I do care.
Yeah. So if something like, the neighbors are really loud or something like that, instead of going and yelling at the neighbors about how they need to stop being loud and all that stuff, you need to work on yourself not noticing it as much.
Right. Work on your reaction to it instead of relying on them to change, because chances are they're just going to keep partying and being loud.
So the same thing really applies to anything in life. You need to work on your reaction to things instead of trying to control other people and change their actions, because it's not going to work.
Right, because you are the only thing in the world that you can control.
Yeah.
The only thing.
Yeah. You can try and control other things, it will not work.
It's futile. It's futile.
So, I mean, even if you try and control a computer, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Right.
So, what a lot of people think is, though, like, okay, well, I'm not going to change, and, I'm just me. And again, that's great, but you're not going to get anywhere with it.
Right. You're not going to get any new friends. I mean, life's not going to be, at the quality that you would like it to be.
Yeah, unless you start to change your reaction to things. And that starts by just taking a step back and going, do I really need to think this way? Could this have an alternate meaning? Etc. So, that was really realization number 2 for me, was, look, that was realization number 3, rather. So we have number 1 was, things need to change, I'm not perfect. Number 2 was, I need to have a reason bigger than my problems in order to make this change.
Right.
And number 3 was, people are not going to do the change for me. If I want something, I need to make the change myself. And that's where reason number 2 comes in, because yes, it's not going to be fun. It's not always going to be rainbows and unicorns and sprinkles.
Right.
But if you have a reason bigger than your problems, in this case I wanted to go on the cruise boat, I was willing to be uncomfortable for a little bit to get on the cruise boat.
Right. My progression of, realizing these things and, making these distinctions was when I was in high school, even after I'd fixed the whole hygiene thing, things still weren't quite working for me. Still didn't really have a whole lot of friends, and I was like, okay, well, I thought the hygiene would fix everything. But then I started noticing, I'm very receptive, and I'm very attentive, so I noticed people talking to other people, and I noticed me talking to other people, and how different and awkward I was.
Yeah, that was me too.
And sometimes not even very nice. Like, I would say things, I would be trying to start conversation in my head, but to them, I was being very mean.
Yeah.
And so I started talking to my mom, I started going to therapy, I started doing all of these things that I knew would help and would give me a better quality of life. But I wouldn't have realized that if I hadn't, decided to change and made the distinction that these people don't need to change, I'm the one that needs to change for this to work for me.
Yeah. And again, you are welcome to not change.
Right.
The other people are going to think the exact same thing as you.
Right.
Just like you don't want to be controlled and you don't want people telling you what to do, others don't want you telling them what to do. Just like you don't want to change and you want everyone else to change, others are the same way. So in order to get what you want, you need to be different. You need to say, look, okay, I need to do this change. Because otherwise nothing is going to change and it's going to stay the same. If you do the same thing, you're going to get the same result.
Right. Expecting anything else would be crazy.
Yeah. And, literally, that's what I did for years and years and years.
Right. Most people do that. They do the same things and expect things to get better.
Yeah.
When in reality, that's just not possible.
It's just, you're lying to yourself is what you're doing.
And it's not fair to yourself.
Yeah. It's so much easier and healthier and more fun and just more awesome just to be like, yeah, okay, yes, I admit I'm wrong. That doesn't mean I'm a horrible person. That doesn't mean I'm a bad person. That means now I get to be right.
Right, and it means that you're a human being.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to be right all the time.
You don't need to be perfect. No one's going to really care. Like, yes, I've been scratching my face. We could totally redo this video and be like, oh, I scratched my face. that doesn't work. We totally need to redo this. But yeah, we're humans. Things happen. Like right now my ear itches, so I'm going to scratch it. So, again, change needs to come from you. If not, stay in denial. Nothing's going to change. I learned this the hard way. Please don't. Please, just try it out. For a day. You can go back to the old way of thinking if you want, right? All it takes is a thought to go back to the old way of thinking. It takes about, a millisecond to go back. Just try this out.
Right.
What if this is the key to everything you've ever wanted? Now that is not just a one-time thing, though.
Right.
Persistence is the key.
Right. That's why I said if you keep at it, or if you stick with it, you have to stick with it. You can't just try it once, and if it doesn't work immediately, say, "Oh, well, that's not going to work. I'm hopeless."
Yeah.
Because that's not fair to yourself. And so many people do that, and they do themselves a huge disservice.
Yeah. So, that's totally correct. So what happened after I started to have these realizations was I started to realize, hey, not everyone's actually out to get me. Not everyone is actually out to attack me or make me feel bad.
Right. They're too busy worrying about themselves. This is what one of my mentors explained to me is, thinking that everybody's out to get you or everybody's laughing at you, that's just not valid because they are too busy worrying the same thing about other people.
Yeah. Everyone worries the same stuff, and then therefore they, what bullies do is they feel so bad about themselves that they try and drag everyone else down because they don't know how to feel good about themselves.
Right.
And the way you feel good about yourselves is you simply say, I'm going to feel good about myself.
And do good things.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing you can do for your soul and just your general emotional well-being is just do good things.
Help people. You're someone with Asperger's. You have something that you are very knowledgeable about.
Right. You have a niche.
Yeah. Whether that's lightning or helping people or computers or whatever. My thing was computers for a long time.
He's really good at it too. Really good. Every time I have a computer problem, I go to this dude.
He's the writer here, so he's equally as well as good as writing. So people would be like, my computer's broken. I'd be like, okay, let me fix it. And then that made me feel good. Because then it wasn't always like me. It was, hey, you have a computer problem, I can fix it, so I will.
Right, and he actually, I'm really proud of him because he minimized bullying by, if someone bullied him and then asked him for help with their computer, he'd say, no, you bullied me. That's standing up for yourself. That's awesome if you can get to that point. When you get to that, not if, when you get to that point.
Yeah. And really, here's so what I realized after that was, there's more than one meaning to things, right?
Everything has thousands of different meanings.
Yeah. Shakespeare said, thinking things are neither good nor bad, but thinking makes it so. Right. So, next time something horrible happens, or you feel like this person bullied me, come up with a few alternate stories.
Reframe it.
Yeah, come up with a few alternate stories of what happened. So instead of, this person's bullying me, well, maybe they just had a bad day and woke up on the wrong side of bed, and they're really, really cranky. So then, therefore, they're just going to do something I would do when I'm really cranky and yell at me.
Right. Not only does that put it into perspective, when there's a reason behind why someone's doing something, for me at least, it makes me feel better, actually, because it's like, okay, it's not me.
Yeah.
It's the fact that they didn't sleep very well, or they woke up on the wrong side of the bed, or they fell off of a bunk bed, whatever. It's not my fault. And so I can move on and not let it bug me, and not respond in a brash or a rash way.
Yeah. So a lot of times, though, I've been thinking about that and been like, well, how do I know that this is true versus the other one, right? How do I know that they actually woke up on the wrong side of bed versus they're just being annoying to me?
Right.
Well, you don't either way. You literally, unless you go up and ask them, did you wake up on the wrong side of the bed today? Don't do that, by the way. But unless you go up and ask them, you have no evidence either one way or another.
So you make the meaning.
So you choose. All the time, we see, they've done studies where they put a picture of an old man And then they put a picture of like a graveyard and a crying family and all this stuff. And of course, the old man died, right? That's what happened. No, what happened was they put up a picture of an old man and then a picture of graveyards and crying families. You just chose the meaning that the old man died.
Right.
Versus they put up a picture of an old man and a happy family and balloons and cheering, and then he did something right. He got some accomplishment. No, what happened was they put up a picture of an old man next to a bunch of people cheering and stuff. You decided that's what happened. Did you have any evidence that the old man has suddenly died or made some achievement? No. You made it up in your head.
Right. And you'd be surprised at how many people automatically revert to the negative meaning first. They don't even think about the positive meaning.
Yeah. What's good about this?
Right. We naturally, just because of society and a number of other factors, maybe our own pasts, we think negatively first.
Yeah.
And part of something we want to get through to you is to think positively first. Because your life will be so much easier and there'll just be a glow in your face that other people can see. Because you're actually visibly happier.
Yeah. And if you don't want to do what's easier and what makes life easier, by all means, think negative first. But if you want a better life for yourself, which I've never met a single person that says, no, I want a worse life for myself.
Right. They just have different ways of going about it.
Yeah. Then start thinking, what's good about this? What's the positive? What can happen that is good?
Right. And it'll take some practice. I mean, if you think negative first, you can quickly be like, okay, scratch that. What's good?
Yeah.
Just because you think briefly about what's negative doesn't mean that, you're doomed. It just means go back to the positive quickly. Bounce back quickly.
And don't get frustrated when it doesn't work the first time. You see people that have it all, and you're like, why can't I do this, right? What you didn't see was their 10-year struggle beforehand.
Right. Usually they have multiple years, sometimes multiple decades struggles with these things. And they're only at that point after that. The point can only come after that.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times people come up to me and ask me, how'd you do it? How are you getting all this success? They're like, they think I've gotten all this success in the past week, and I just started, and suddenly I'm successful. Meanwhile, I've been working for 4 years at this stuff. I'm like, you didn't see the other 4 years that I worked every single day obsessively on this.
Right.
So, a great quote from this was, don't compare your backstage to their front stage. Right. So don't compare all the work that's gone into it to what the finished product is. Don't get frustrated just because it doesn't work the first time, because it's not. Honestly, it's not going to work the first time. If you decide to become a painter, your first painting is not going to look good.
Right.
It's just going to suck.
People ask me often how I got to be a professional writer, how I work for 2 professional magazines, and how I've won awards. And I've been writing every day since I was 16 years old. That's 5 years. So, I wasn't born with the ability to write well. I was born with kind of a gift. I have always had an affinity for it. But to get as good as I am, I had to practice, and I had to go through a lot of personal stuff to be able to write like I do today. And people don't see that. Yeah. People very rarely talk about the decade or so that it took to struggle. Walt Disney doesn't talk about the fact that he was fired for being an animator because he had no imagination. Oprah doesn't talk about the fact that she was fired from a daytime talk show because she wasn't good on camera. Right.
These people don't talk about all that part.
Right.
You just hear, Oprah has a giant empire, and Walt Disney has Walt Disney World, and all this stuff, and that's just, you assume they're always like that. No.
And Paul McCartney didn't know how to read music notes.
He still doesn't.
Yeah, but he's widely regarded as one of the greatest songwriters and musicians of our time. Yeah.
And with us, I didn't know how to do any of this stuff. I had to make success a study. Think about that. Make a success a study. So I had to study. Look, how do these people do it? What thoughts do I need to have? How do I need to think? What do I need to do? When do I need to do it? To achieve what life I want to live.
Right. I think of it as kind of an adventure.
Yeah.
Because for me, I'm very adventurous. Now I am at least. I go, whenever I can, I go up in the mountains. I hike a lot.
Yeah.
And if you think of it as an adventure, there's a fun connotation to it. And so you want to be successful and you want to change.
Yeah.
It's all about how you frame things.
Yeah. So when the anxieties and the fears and all that stuff pop up again, me all the time, every single day.
Because
Still,
they will.
Still, they pop up for me.
It all comes down to whether or not you can deal with them.
Yeah, and the way you deal with them is by thinking, okay, really, like, what if this happens? What if that happens? Oh my god, I don't know what I'm going to do if this happens.
Answer the question.
Yeah.
Just answer the question. What if this happens? Is the world going to end?
Like,
are you going to die?
Yeah.
Probably not.
What if this happens? Because you ask it, the fear and anxiety comes from the ambiguity of what if this happens, and you just leave it at that and you don't answer the question.
Right. If there's a certainty attached to it, the anxiety's gone.
Yeah. Like, growing up, I had an immense fear of jumping off of a diving board. Not dumping off a diving board, just jumping off of a diving board. But, and what that fear stemmed from was, what if I jump off the diving board? And then I would get all freaked out and I wouldn't jump off the diving board. Versus if I answered, well, I'd go into the water, I'd be underwater for about a second, and I'd pop back up.
And people would probably cheer because it'd be your first time off of a diving board.
And that would be it.
Yeah.
And suddenly, does that seem like that's big of a deal? No. So I jumped off of the diving board. Yesterday, how Hayden has a doctor's note that says, I'm never going to do anything with my life. He's never going to do anything with his life.
It's somewhere. I had a doctor when I was like 5. Yeah, when I was first diagnosed. And he said, he's going to have to be institutionalized and he's never going to have any friends. He's not going to have a life. This kid's doomed. And I think it's written down somewhere, and I really want to find it because I really want to show that doctor up.
And the funny thing is that we were going to use that in one of our messages here at Asperger Experts to help more people and improve our life. So the irony is, the note that said he's never going to do anything with his life is now becoming part of the vehicle that makes him do something with his life.
Right. It's great because it's something that could have hindered me, but instead enhances me.
Yeah.
And it's great. I love that.
Yeah. And once you start getting that little taste, it's addictive.
It's a craving. You want more.
Yeah.
It's like, eating a Cheez-It. You can't just have one Cheez-It. I mean, come on. If you can have one Cheez-It, I applaud you.
Yes. If you can have one Cheez-It, email us. We want to hear about this magical power you possess.
Please. I've eaten a pound bag of Cheez-Its before. I felt so sick. But I was like, you know what? This is how I die. I'm all right with that.
Yeah, I'd like to add that. The next realization, don't eat a pound bag of Cheez-Its.
Yes,
you will
please
regret it. Once you start to do this and you're like, okay, I'm just going to see what's out there. You can always go back to the way you were. I'm just going to see what's out there.
You have nothing to lose. You have everything to gain.
Yeah. Literally, answer the question. What is there to lose if you try this?
You just go back to the way you were before.
Yeah.
That's all. And, at this point, you're probably still comfortable in that state, so that's really not that bad for you.
Yeah. Now, however, there are some things like hygiene and stuff like that are simple to do. It doesn't really take much effort to brush your teeth.
Right.
But once you do them, it's just like, okay, life is better now. Now I don't need to go to the dentist every 3 months, and I can go once a year or every 6 months instead.
And then it becomes part of your day.
Yeah.
Brushing your teeth, if you don't brush your teeth one day, the whole day's out of whack. For me, at least. If I wake up too late for school and I have to run to school without showering, that actually happened last semester. I feel like that I smell like crap the entire day, and it's and ever since then I haven't not showered because I know what it feels like and I have a reason.
And the core comes down to releasing that overwhelm, because a lot of it, yes, it existed, and it was horrible. I've been there. But most of it existed in the past. Right now, you might be a little bit overwhelmed via information.
Right.
But is there anything else going on? Are you really overwhelmed? Or is all that in the past?
It's gone.
It's gone.
It's not here anymore. It doesn't exist anymore.
It doesn't exist. So, it's kind of like being afraid of something that happened a year ago. You could just as easily be happy. But you just need to, hey, it's gone. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this.
Thank you.
We really, really appreciate it. You are awesome. Keep reminding yourself that.
Always remember that. You guys are amazing. You have the potential. You have it in you. We know that you do.
Yeah, and you can do this.